I'm about to start it. Okay.
They had me on, but there we go.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, July 13th, 2020. I would like to call to order the special board meeting, a budget extension hearing. I believe, Chris, is it you or Jeanette that's going to take over? Jeanette, basically the floor is yours.
Perfect. So I plan on just pretty much going through the documents that were attached in the meeting. And if you guys have any questions, please just ask them as we go. As you guys heard previously in previous meetings, the debt service fund and the expenditures.
Jeanette,
yes.
Can you start over again? We didn't hear your introduction.
No worries. So I'm just planning on going through the documents that were attached in the meeting. Yes, we'll start with the F200. And if you guys have questions, just ask them as we go. We have plenty of time. This is a very short and sweet hearing. So this is regarding the debt service fund budget for 1920 school year. So unfortunately, one of the numbers and the expenses for the budget from last year was entered incorrectly. So we need to basically modify that. The fund has the cash capacity, it has the fund balance. The only thing that was reported incorrectly or budgeted incorrectly is the value in the expenditures, and we'll go through that on another page. So this document is basically the formal budget extension that will be filed with OSPI, the state. And so I just provided it here for you guys. It basically just summarizes the change. The levy, or sorry, this first page, the summary of certified excess levies, is basically the same as what it was previously when you guys adopted the 1920 budget last summer. So there was no change to this document at all.
I have a question. Can you go back to those numbers? So you're saying what the mistake was on C under general fund is that it used the budget numbers from last year instead of the accurate ones for this year? Is that what you're telling us?
No, there is absolutely zero changes to this page.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, so this page did not change at all from last year's budget.
Okay.
So
what
this is
just line C. Actually, can you put that in normal
yes.
speak?
Yes.
What does excess levy amount mean? What does that have to roll back?
So excess levy is just the levy that the voters approve. That's just the formal term. And then after rollback means, so if a board decides to change the amount that they're going to levy to taxpayers, either because of a law change and they're required to, or if they choose to out of their own decision, because you guys have that authority to collect less than the amount that the taxpayers approve, but not more. So that's basically what that rollback is. And so last summer, we estimated what that rollback would be and included it in the budget so the budget was more accurate. And then in November, once, I believe it was November or late October, once we had more accurate information from the county assessor's office, we actually essentially ratified these amounts, but they don't get changed in the budget document themselves. You guys just ratified them via resolution. Does that make sense? So it's basically the rollback is the change from what the voters approved on the tax.
So instead of collecting 2 million and 13,586, we collected 2,325,000.
No. So if you look right above that, you see where it says general fund and debt service fund. So they're different funds, and so they're different tax measures. So the general fund is the M&O or the EP&O, which is what it's called now. So that's that levy. And then the debt service fund is the bond. So back when you guys passed the bond, I believe it was the one for Wahidas. So that's what that is.
Okay.
So they're two different tax measures.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next page. So I highlighted the area of change for you guys so you can see where that change is. It's in the interest on the bonds. And so that number was entered incorrectly. And so that is the amount that we need to ratify or basically change. And so we are increasing, or we are asking it to be increased by $120,000. So the document that was used to determine the amount of taxes that needed to be collected was done correctly, so that the tax piece, the revenue piece, is correct. It just was a hand key error on my part in the budget.
Is there ever a way that we can refinance a bond or something along those lines to make those numbers go smaller?
Yes, you can refinance on a bond, or usually that is done in conjunction with another bond issue, actually, or some other kind of voted debt, whether that's a levy that you use to get some kind of voted debt, or something like that, or combine a non-voted debt with your bond to get a lower interest rate. There are instances of that, but typically it's not a very common occurrence. It doesn't, in my experience, usually it takes a pretty big change for that to happen.
And the reason why I asked that is because I know that the city, and it was quite a few years ago, within the last 5 or maybe 7, they redid, the interest had dropped dramatically, and so they redid one of their bonds and actually saved like 120 to 150,000 a year and just paid it off faster. And so that's why I ask that. I don't know if what our interest is, or if this time interest rates have changed at all. I just know it was a significant amount of savings that they had. And so that's why I asked that, especially when this number is increased. And I understand that it was just an oversight, an accident, but just want to make sure that we're getting the best that we can, I guess.
Yeah, I can definitely put some feelers out to our financial, I guess, consultants on that, who have more information on the market, and just see if they think that that's of value at this time. I don't know, how the city, how they issue their bonds and how they work, and the compliance requirements around them. So it might be something that's, slightly, I guess, more worthwhile for them to do versus for something worthwhile for us to do. Because I know when you do that, you have to go through and you have to pay closing costs and everything like that all over again. So, and I don't know, I would assume you would also have to, resell them on the open public market and all of that. So that interest on bonds line, that's where that changes. Also, as part of the budget, up one page. Who's ever writing that? So the other change that is highlighted, it's required when you're formally changing your budget, is to adjust that beginning fund balance to be exactly to match what your actual beginning fund balance was. So that's what that change is. That $41,000, $41,551 is basically the difference between what we budgeted to begin that fund with versus what we actually began that fund with in the fiscal year.
I just wanted to comment to Jen's request there, Jeanette. I
Mhm.
want to say 2 or maybe 3 years ago, we did do a refinance of the bonds and we brought quite a significant savings to the district actually with our bonds. So it has been done, Jen. I don't know that checking it again or seeing if it's worth, I don't know. I know interest rates have been doing some weird things. But yeah, it has been done. We as a district have taken advantage of that, and there was a significant saving on our current bond.
Great.
Thank you, Mike.
information.
Unaware of that, so that's great to hear.
But yeah, so that's basically the summary of the change. All of the other pages in the document are basically just detailed versions of that high-level summary. Also attached to the meeting is the resolution that would formally adjust the budget by that $120,000 increase. And that's included in the regular meeting agenda.
So it's debt serviced fund. Can you, again, layperson's terms, what does that mean as if we're doing our home budgets? What's an analogous example?
I would equate it to if you were to go buy a house and you wanted to slowly put money aside to pay for that house in a separate account. And once you bought that house, you made the payments from that account and you also put money into that account. So it's basically a separate account that we're paying, that we use to pay our voted debt.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, so it seems like we've heard this. There'll be a resolution in required approvals tonight. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the information, Jeanette. And I think we'll see everybody at 7. Thank you.